Hey, this is Griff. We're going to start in a few minutes. So I'll let you enjoy this lovely background for a little while. If you guys can hear me and see me, someone give me a like, thumbs up, or say, I see and hear you. And that would be helpful. And I'm going to put my keys away so they don't jingle jangle the whole time. Hey, I'm naturalist Griff, and I'm here in Humboldt, Redwood State Park. So check it out. Isn't it beautiful? I love this place. I feel so blessed to work here because it's actually a dream come true of mine to work in the Redwoods. Look at this place. It's beautiful, and I work here. That's right, that's right. I love it. Gotta celebrate. Love this place. So we are gonna explore it, and we're gonna look at some interesting stuff. First, let me show you my office real quick. This is my temporary office right here. So see, it's a hollow tree, but it serves as a great office for today. So hopefully you guys have some idea where Humboldt Redwood State Park is, because it's your park. Whenever you see this patch, that means the place you're in belongs to you, and the people that are wearing this patch work for you. Okay, so where I'm at right now is where that green dot is up here. I'm in far northern California. It's an excellent, oh, there's a mirroring effect going on. It's an excellent place for redwoods to grow because we get like 80 inches of rain, which is, if it never went into the ground, would be like this, because I'm 6'1", okay? And during the summer we get lots of fog, and the redwood trees are so tall that they fog scrape and create rain. So this is a pretty magical spot. Before we go any further, I just want to say that the reason why State Parks is doing so many of these virtual field trips, and we're doing a ports program. You can go to California State Parks page and look up ports program. The reason why we're doing so many of those is because you guys are sheltering in place because of the COVID virus. And this is a really bizarre time to be a human. So when it comes to a lot of like environmental problems, you'll often hear biologists say, we're all in this together, we're all in this together. And you're kind of like, no, I'm cool because I live in the city and I go to this store and that store and I don't see these environmental effects. Well, this virus is kind of showing us an example of how we should be treating some of our other, global problems, because we're all in this together. One of us could be like sick and then going out and touching everything and sneezing on people, and then we infect others. So I always practice washing my hands constantly. I washed my hands before I started this. I wiped down all my shared equipment, because we share this equipment that I'm using right now. And I'm going to wipe it all off when I'm done, so the next person who gets it's going to get clean, a nice clean gear, but they're still going to wipe it down because we go the extra mile here in California State Parks. And unfortunately, please refer to the California State Parks page for the latest information on parks. But unfortunately, I think all of the parking lots in the state park system are closed, and some of the parks are closed. Humboldt Redwood State Park is, I believe, still open for day use, but the latest information, and it's changing so fast that I need you to check before you come out to the parks. You need to check with California State Park Facebook page or our website, or even the Humboldt Redwoods page or the North Coast Redwoods page, because we'll update those. Okay, so please be mindful. We're all in this together. It's going to take all of our cooperation to keep our grandmas from getting really sick, to keep each other from getting really sick. So young people get this too. All right, so we're in this beautiful, special place, and it is pretty much, there's so few people here. This is normally a really busy area, but because of the shelter-in-place policies, and I live here, it's pretty much all to myself, and I love it, but I want you guys to see it too. So I'm glad we're doing this virtual field trip, because there's some really interesting wildlife that lives here, and Sundays are dedicated to talking about them. So, and I see you, Ellie, and I see you, Jasmine. And Sandra, hey, and Jesse Kirk, former California Conservation Corps member who was doing work in this area, and Tiffany, welcome you guys. So in this area, what do you think the biggest animal is in Humboldt Redwood State Park? So I'm going to see, sometimes there's a lag and I ask a question and you guys don't actually hear that question for like 10 seconds when we do live videos. But I want to see someone answer, what do you think the largest animal is here? What's up, Miss Jasmine? What do you think the largest animal? Jasmine also has done salmon habitat restoration in this watershed, in this park. What do you think the largest animal in Humboldt Redwood State Park is? Some of the largest ones. Name 3 of the largest ones that you think. Pterodactyl werewolf monkey? No, we don't have any of those. There's no pterodactyl werewolf. Elk. Yes, Charles, sometimes elk will come in here because they're at Sinkione. Natalie, black bear, yes. Tammy Skaggs, hi, John. I'm not the biggest animal, Tammy. Black bears are. So black bears are really, really cool. And I happen to have a skull here of a black bear. And it's a smaller black bear. But you can see by its teeth that it's an omnivore, and those of you who remember biology know that omnivore means that it eats plants and animals, right? Yes, we do have cougars here, Aaron. So, bear, elk, and deer. Good job, Kimberly. So, the black bear is super cool, and a lot of times we're scared of bears. But you know, if we went back in time, if we picked up a stick and it was a portal to another time, and we're like, and we went back in time and we started looking for black bears in 1820 in Humboldt Redwood State Park, we probably wouldn't see as many as we see today. Does anybody know why? What's up, Macy and Shane? Does anybody know why there probably was less black bears in the Redwoods historically than there is today? Does anybody know why there's more coyotes all over the United States than there is today? There's some commonalities in the reasoning there. So back when there was a lot of wolves, coyotes couldn't go into wolf territory. Back when there was a lot of grizzly bears, black bears wouldn't always go into their territory because grizzly bears will kill black bears. There's actually videos of it which are terrible, and I'm not recommending that you watch this. I don't even know why I mentioned that. I probably should have mentioned that because now you're going to look it up. But so black bears, with the removal of grizzly bears, the systematic, planned, brutal poisoning and shooting murder of the animal on our state flag. I think the last one was shot in 1922 or something like that. Black bears moved in, and black bears are opportunists. 95% of their diet is in vegetation, so berries, nuts, seeds, and this is a great place for them to live because there's a lot of edible plants here. Okay. There's a lot of edible plants here. There is, in the redwoods, there's something else besides just the herbaceous plants that bears like. Does anybody know the relationship between bears and redwoods? What's up, Sophie? Less competition? Yes, there is less competition here. Aaron, they thrive in urban environments. Sometimes black bears do because people aren't responsible with their trash. So, what do you think the relationship between redwoods and black bears is? Someone know? Dawn, it is pretty. So right below the redwood bark is a cambium layer and the phloem layer, and that's where all the sap, so in the leaves, there's photosynthesis happening and it's making sugar, and then the sugar is getting distributed throughout the tree, the whole organism, via the phloem cambium and the cambium layer right inside the bark, and that's delicious to bears. And especially in young, fast-going trees. So after we clear cut log and all the trees are growing up, all the redwood trees are growing up, bears will often go in there and start tearing off the bark, which makes timber people super mad. In fact, there's been systematic shooting of black bears that they know are bark strippers. And so what it looks like when a black bear does that is it's pretty telltale. Like once you can recognize what it looks like on the tree, you never really forget. So let me just give you guys a panoramic, and let's change the view here. Isn't that beautiful? Never get tired of it out here. So here's our big flat black bear. So they put on a lot of weight right before they hibernate, and up north they hibernate a lot. And this area, if it's warm year round, black bears don't need to hibernate. If it's really cold, they can hibernate for 6 months. So I don't think in this area that they hibernate, and if they do, it's for very short periods of time. But when they strip the bark off a tree, it looks like this. And so you may have seen that. You can see the little teeth marks where they are scratching it with their teeth and licking. Here's another picture. So it looks like now the tree is wearing like a bark skirt. So that's what bears do to young, fast-growing redwood trees. And they teach their young how to do this. And sometimes biologists will catch them and they'll test the urine of the bear to see if there's a lot of turpentines in it. And if so, they know this is a tree-killing bear. So the timber perspective is that that's bad. In natural environments, there wouldn't be a lot of opportunities for a lot of young, fast-growing redwood trees to be in the same place at the same time, unless there was a massive like landslide or something. So that didn't happen a lot in nature, like natural, non-European influenced systems. But now it does. And one of the ways we got to look at that is also, if it doesn't happen to every single tree in the plantation, snags, standing dead trees, are really good for the ecosystem because insects can get in there and the birds can eat the insects and the woodpeckers make holes and different cool things like the Humboldt flying squirrel could go inside there. So this adds forest complexity. And as long as it's not killing all the trees in a tree plantation, hopefully they don't kill too many bears. Bears. Did I say bears? I meant bears. So black bears. Let me see if there's any questions. And you know what? Black bears do mark their territory. And it's funny that Jasmine would say that because Jasmine does a BioBlitz dance with me at P22 days in LA during Wildlife Conservation Week. We go down there in October and me and Jasmine lead the BioBlitz dance. And one of the moves is the black bear. And what it's based on is the black bear scratching its back against the tree. So the first move of the BioBlitz dance, and I'm not going to do the whole thing. So if you want to know the rest of it, you can go on YouTube and put BioBlitz, BioBlitz dance, okay, tutorial, and you can learn it. The first move is the black bear scratching against the back. So you guys know why the black bears scratch their back against the tree like this? They don't really do it like this, but you know what I mean, okay? So that's the black bear move. We go like that, and then we go like this, okay? They do that because they want, it's like they don't have the internet. So they have to communicate in different ways. They don't have telephones. So the tree that they scratch their back at serves a couple purposes. One, they got an itchy back and they can't reach it. Two, it leaves their scent there and some of their hairs there. And so other bears can come up and smell and see whose territory they're in. And they could probably discern some information about each other from the smells, like if it's male or female, how old it is. So that's what black bears do. So, uh-oh, Jasmine, you saw that. What's up, Sharita? So, there are black bears in this forest. They're wonderful, and we will continue to have them. But I want you to learn something. We're going to get grim real fast. A fed bear is a dead bear. Now, I know when a bear comes up into your camp, some of you are like, oh, isn't that cute? It just wants a sandwich. Quick, make it a sandwich. And you make it a sandwich and you throw the black bear sandwich and then you're like, okay, black bear, you got your sandwich, go ahead and go away. And the black bear's like, I need another sandwich. And then next thing you know, it's at your tent all night. You're waking up 2 o'clock to heavy breathing and some teeth right next to your head on the other side of this really thin thing of a tent fabric, okay? And so then you report to the ranger that there's this nuisance animal and you leave out the part that you fed it a sandwich, okay? Then the ranger comes, and if that bear is harassing campers, it gets shot, okay? Fed bear is a dead bear. And Yosemite, there's a really good book called When Mountain Lions Are Neighbors by Beth Pratt. And in there, it talks about how they dealt with their bear problem, because they had bears like coming up, knocking on people's RV doors and stuff, trying to come in for dinner. And they dealt with that. And you can help us. Always store your food in the bear lockers that are provided in our campground, or keep them in your vehicle, okay? And don't feed any animals. Keep your trash in the dumpsters, okay? The dumpsters are bear designed, because once the bears start associating humans with food, they become habituated, they lose their fear, and they'll come up to your tent at night, and then they'll become a nuisance, and then someone has to make, Fish and Wildlife will have to make the decision whether or not that bear gets killed, okay? They don't get relocated like they did in the old days. I lived at a Forest Service barracks where a bear would come sit on my porch at night and not leave because it was a habituated bear. I didn't habituate it, but you're not helping animals, because you might think you're being nice by feeding animals, but really you're setting them up, okay, for some bad things, for meeting a bad person. So don't do it, okay? Don't feed animals. And not even at your house, don't even feed animals. Okay, but thanks for being compassionate to animals and wanting to do that. So there's my office again. So, what do you think? We're going to talk about a different animal now. What do you think this animal is? Sherry, what's up? Sophie, what's up? And bear canisters required while backpacking Humboldt Redwoods. Yes, that's right. Because you don't want them to get in your food. We don't want them to associate humans with food. Please help us. Help the bear. If you love bears, don't feed them. If you love wildlife, don't feed them. Okay, except for birds. You can give birds birdseed, but birds don't habituate like that. Hey, Katrina. Hopefully Timothy's watching Bussin' Moves. Well, he just missed our Bussin' Moves a little while ago. Hey, Aaron. So, does anybody know what the skull is? Keeping the foods in cars is no-no in bear country. Yes, Teresa, it is, but it's better than leaving it in your tent if that's your only option. But they will break into your cars, people. I've seen windows smashed, especially if they know they've done it before. Once a bear does something that's a success, they'll do it again and again. Okay, so what is this? What is this? It's something that needs those whitening strips, huh? That needs some whatever that was, it needs some whitening strips. What was that? It's got teeth. Birds don't have teeth. So these are teeth. Remember, it needs the whitening strips. Beaver. Ooh, that was close, Jermaine. Yep, that was very close. A beaver is the largest rodent in. So see these teeth? Those are rodent teeth. They never stop growing. Beaver is the biggest rodent in the United States. It's the second biggest rodent. So what's the second biggest rodent in the United States? I'll give you a hint. You would never want to pet this thing. You never cuddle it. You'll never see one of these getting cuddled. A weird bird with molars and beak. Why does everybody keep thinking that's a bird? I guess it does look like a bird, huh? Hey, what's up, Timothy? You missed it, man. I was busting moves a little while ago. It is a type of rodent. It's the second biggest rodent in North America. You wouldn't want to cut porcupine. Someone said porcupine. Who is that? And got it right. It's a porcupine. So porcupines are rodents. And I want to tell you a quick story. Don't ever do this. When I was young, and I worked for the Nature Conservancy, we used to plant trees all the time. Dirk, you remember. I see you, Dirk. I saw a porcupine. I had this empty trash can, and I chased it down, and I made it go into the trash can so I could look at it closer. Don't ever do that. That's harassment. I was young, and it was like totally like random, and I love animals, and I just wanted to see it up close, but I harassed it, and I wish I wouldn't have done that. Now, and I could have got really badly hurt. This is a porcupine. So true or false? True or false? Porcupines can throw their quills like a ninja. Okay? What do you think? Can porcupines throw their quills? Can they think really hard to be like, like out their back? Can they do that? I think you guys are lagging behind me because you guys are still trying to guess what this is. So I don't think that you can answer my questions in real time. Interesting. I think you guys are like 2 minutes behind me. What's your favorite animal lives in the Redwoods? I don't know. It changes every day. Jasmine, I think today it might be otters. Lily Rose, Jermaine, reflex from fear. Jasmine said, "Blah." So no, porcupines cannot throw their quills, but they will back it up into you. Okay. So be like, I'm a porcupine. I'm about to back this thing up. And when they start singing that song, you better run. Because it can cause death in some animals. There's very few predators of porcupines. Now, here's a mystery for you. Porcupines used to be commonly seen all over Humboldt in like the 30s and 40s and 50s. But now we hardly ever see them in Humboldt. They're only in a few places. Does anybody want to guess why? Or does anybody know? Oh, it's a 45-second lag. Thanks, Katrina. Okay. So you guys are... So just so you know, when I ask a question, I'm already 45 seconds down. I suspected this did this. So, porcupines. There's lots of different kinds of porcupines. Porcupines are all over the world. And I think North America's are the largest, but that's hard for me to believe because I met some African porcupines and the male wanted to fight me. His name was Al Sharpton and his girlfriend's name was Quillamina. and they were at this place called Animal Tracks. You can get on Facebook and Animal Tracks, and they take care of injured and orphaned or confiscated wild animals, exotic animals. They got monkeys and stuff. I did a 10-episode show for, oh, my battery died. Wonder if you guys can still hear me. I did a 10-episode show for Animal Planet, and one of the episodes was at Animal Tracks, and I met, let me see if, can you guys hear me still? Hopefully you can hear me still. The buds went off for a little while. Anyways, this African porcupine in wild jobs, I think it's episode 1 actually. If you can go to Animal Planet's Facebook page and you could scroll down and see it, or you can go to animalplanet.com, wild jobs, and you can see it. And this porcupine wanted to fight me, and it was really intimidating. So, oh good, thanks Charles. So the reason why they have disappeared out of Humboldt County, largely, not completely, a professor named Tim Bean at Humboldt State University thinks it's because there's less young forest right now, because a lot of those clear cuts are now getting 50 years old, and they liked the young clear cuts because they liked, for the same reason the bears did, they liked the fast growing trees. So here's what it looks like when porcupines eat the phloem off the, is this upside down? It's hard to tell. So this is what it looks like when porcupines eat the bark off. So see, it's a little bit different. It goes like side to side and stuff, whereas the bear one went up and down, and I'll hold them side by side up here in a minute. Here's another one. But porcupine, North American porcupines anyways, can climb trees. So can the porcupines in South America. They can climb trees. So they can do this way up in a tree. But the pattern is different than how a bear is. Hey, Lorena. They're still in Talawa. Yes, Sophie, they are still in Talawa. So, but they think they disappeared down here because there's less fast-growing trees, because all the clear cuts kind of happened in the 50s through the 80s. They also think the return of the fisher. So do you guys know what a fisher is? Like fishermen know, there's a large weasel called a fisher, and they used to be all over Humboldt. And then during the fur trapping era, they trapped out a lot of the weasel family members and beavers. And the fisher is finally starting to come back, and it's a super cool animal. And unfortunately, the only one that I saw in the wild, or know about in the wild around here, was dying of rat poison because of all the illegal pot grows around here. And they would often use rat poison so the rats wouldn't eat their pot plants. And it killed a lot of wildlife, including the fisher that I saw. It had been poisoned by rodenticides. And they think that's what happened to some of the porcupines too, is they got poisoned from a lot of pot grows. So pot grows, lack of young fast growing trees, and the range expansion of the fishers, the return of the fishers. So that might, and then porcupines might not have been in the redwoods before. They might have came here after the clear cuts because they saw a good opportunity with young fast growing trees. So let's look at this side by side damage here. So if you look at the porcupine, how they gnaw the wood, okay, it's kind of like horizontal, it's like side to side. And then if you look at the bears, it's kind of up and down and all around. And both of them are after the same thing, essentially. Porcupines are vegetarians and eat seeds and nuts and fruits and leaves and all kinds of stuff. And so you would think there'd be some good habitat here, but I think that they really like that young bark, and so they left Humboldt for a myriad of reasons. But anyways, I'm going to end this pretty quick. So if you guys have any questions, now's the time to ask. And because I'm trying to make these a little bit shorter because I get so excited. I love this place. I can talk about it for years straight without sleeping. So, hey, Deborah. Right on, Jasmine. So if you have any questions, you can ask them now. There's like a 45-second lag, so it will take me a while to see them. Any martins? Humboldt martins. That's a great question. Mark Graham. So the Humboldt martin hasn't come back into Humboldt Redwoods forest yet, but we are seeing them in some of the northern parks like Prairie Creek and stuff, and that's one of the things our biologists work on. And so I will ask the biologists more questions about martins, and I'll do one of these on the Humboldt martin, which is an endangered species. That is coming back thanks to the great work of our biologists. We have awesome biologists here. Charles, what's the temperature range there now? Well, I'm not wearing a coat, so it's like 60 degrees. I'm sweating a little bit. So it's good. I did that for you, Timothy, if you're still watching. Timothy, just for you. Um, so any questions? Katrina asked, can you tell by the skeleton if it's a girl or boy? I can't tell by the skulls if they're girls or boys, but I bet you that a biologist who studies bones, there's probably a word for it, it's not coming to me right now, they probably know, okay? Because, and there's some excellent trackers out there, and that can look at bones and tell you so much about the bones, like Kim Cabrera, the bear tracker who lives around here. I'll bring her on here sometime. She's awesome. Robert, where in the Redwoods are porcupines found now? You know, I don't know if they're in the coastal redwoods. We don't know if they're still here. We haven't seen them in a long, long time. If they are going to be somewhere, it's going to be in a plantation, young tree plantation is probably where they're going to be. I've seen them in the Klamath, just east of the redwoods. I've seen, not them, but I've seen their marks. So the marks on the tree, I've seen this. I'm doing trail work, and on the Mad River, I've seen this, Mad River watershed, but I don't know if they're still in the redwoods. I'm going to ask the biologist, but the information that I've researched, it says just up in Tallawah Dunes is the only, like in the Redwood region, place that they're really left. Okay. Is there flying squirrels? Yes. And you know what? We just found out the flying squirrel that lives here is its own species. Just a few years ago, they thought it was a northern flying squirrel, and now they know it's its own. So we have a Humboldt flying squirrel. How awesome is that? And we're going to have a live talk about that. What's up, Dominic? Right on. Talk about outdoors, people. So, if you guys have any more questions, do porcupines kill other small predators? I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe if there was like low on food, they would randomly kill another rodent. I don't know. I have not come across that information, but I will ask another biologist. I know that they got little attitudes, and so if you mess with them, you're going to get a sharp hair, and that's what quills are. Quills are hollow, sharp hairs covered in keratin, like fingernails. That what makes them so hard. And they got little microscopic barbs on them, so if they hook through you, good luck getting that out. Requirements to become a ranger. You know, look that up. Are there fireflies here? I wish, Lorena. I love fireflies. I've only seen them twice, and that was when I was in the East Coast. They're not in California. You can check out on California State Parks, look up how to become a ranger, and it will tell you all the steps. And we definitely need them all the time. So I'm going to end you guys off with a little walk, and just to show you how beautiful it is here. And there's this huge tree. I'll go up and get against it so you guys can see how big it is. But this is a beautiful, beautiful forest, home of all kinds of cool wildlife like black bears. And oh, I should do the black bear dance up against this tree one time. Black bears and porcupines and Humboldt flying squirrels and all kinds of cool stuff. So they're hard to see though, especially right around here, because this is the place where people go. If it wasn't for the, you know, the sheltering in place, there'd be a bunch of people here right now. So here's a nice big fat redwood tree, and I gotta stop, you know, sheltering in place is making me eat a lot. And pretty soon I'm gonna eat so much this tree is gonna want to get its picture in front of me. But this is how big this tree is. See, and here's a black bear dance. So if you guys go to Bio Blitz dance, you can learn all the moves, okay? The Bio Blitz dance. So thank you very much. I'm gonna look and see, dance us out. Oh, Rebecca, hey, how's it going? So I will be back on, let's see, I have a Ports program. So if you go to Ports, gosh, I'll put it in the post. I do an almost hour-long program on the heroes of the Redwoods, which is about Laura Mayhem, my hero. She's like the centerpiece of it. And then I'll be back with talking about plants on Friday at 3, and back here talking about wildlife next time at 3. And we will do a Bio Blitz dance tutorial at some point. So I will see you guys later. Thanks for joining me. Please remember, wash your hands, wear a mask if you have one. You can make one out of t-shirts. Just look it up on YouTube. Let's keep each other safe. We're all in this together. And this is a rough time for everyone. And we can do this together. And then what we're going to learn when this is over, we're going to learn that together we can make things happen. And that's when we can start addressing some more of our wildlife conservation issues, like species extinction and habitat destruction. And we're going to address those together, because COVID virus has given us practice. When we work together, we can make some good things happen. So I see you guys later. And thank you very much for coming here. I'm still looking at your guys' questions. All right. Talk to you later. And I'll answer your questions after this. I'll go back to my office. See you later.